I want to welcome everybody here tonight for our first council meeting of the new year. And I'm going to call to order the January 8th, 2025 meeting. If we could all stand for the invocation by Mr. Savage.
Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the opportunity to gather here this evening on behalf of the town, Lord, of Chincoteague, Lord, a beautiful place, Lord, that we love dearly, Lord. We just ask that you be with us as we commence the business of the island, Lord. We just thank you for the staff and everyone that is a member of this great town of ours as far as organization and rights. And Lord, we just ask that you be a special blessing right now for Patty, Lord, and Tyler's son, Lord, as they're going through some difficulties right now. We just ask your healing power upon them, if it's your will, Lord. Continue to guide us, direct us, let us do those things in accordance with your will and your direction. First, in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. The pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I will ask that y'all be patient with me. I've sat in this chair one time to cover a meeting, and that was it. But I think after a couple times, I'll get the hang of it. Next up, consider remote participation. Mr. Bott, are you with us?
Here.
Okay. Do I need a motion on that? I need a motion to consider Chris to participate remotely.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for Chris to participate remotely. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. All right. Public comment. Thank you. We have one, Joanne Moore, Chincoteague Chamber.
Good evening, Mayor Bowden and council members. I am Joanne Moore, and I am excited to introduce myself as the new Executive Director of the Chincoteague Chamber of Commerce. It's both an honor and a privilege to be chosen for this position, and I look forward to working closely with each of you to grow and to promote the growth, development, and the well-being of this wonderful town. I am committed to fostering strong partnerships with local businesses, the community, and government leaders, all with the goal of making Chincoteague an even more vibrant and prosperous place for businesses and residents, as well as a wonderful destination for island guests to make memories that last a lifetime. I would like to thank the town, specifically Public Works, Emergency Management Services, Police Department, Chincoteague Volunteer Fire Company, for the support and participation during the Christmas parade that we held on December 7th. We had 87 attendees or entries into the parade, which is almost as good as pre-pandemic. We're almost there. But I think everyone had a wonderful time. It was wonderful to see the streets full, as well as the hotels, restaurants, and shops all that weekend. Due to the parade and Homes for the Holidays tour and all the other great things that were taking place during the holiday season. Our statistics for December are all up over last year, and with our annual look, our website hits were up 8%, topping almost 300,000 hits. Our calls were up 9%, and visitors inside the chamber office were up 19%. I will present my full annual report to you hopefully in February at the next meeting. So I'd just like to thank you all for your time this evening, and I would like to reach out to you individually to talk to you each more about what the Chamber does for the community and hear your insights on how we can all work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Joanne, congratulations. Yeah. Well deserved. Next up, agenda adoption.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to adopt tonight's agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. Next up is the election of a vice mayor. And Mr. Talbert, should I read this?
You can if you want to.
All right. All right. Section 2 of our code, mayor and vice mayor. The mayor shall preside at the meetings of the council and perform such duties as may be prescribed by this charter and general law, and such may be imposed by the council, consistent with his or her office, He or she shall be recognized as the official head of the town for all ceremonial purposes, by the courts for the purpose of serving civil process, and by the governor for military purposes. In time of public danger or emergency, he or she may take command of the police, maintain order, and enforce the law. Such course of action shall be subject to review by council. The mayor shall have no right to vote in the council except that in every case of a tie vote of the council. The mayor shall be entitled to vote, and his or her vote in case of a tie only shall have the same weight and effect as the vote of a councilman. The mayor shall have no power to suspend, remove, or discharge any officer, agent, or employee of the town, nor shall he or her have any power or authority to appoint or employ any officer, agent, or employee of the town, nor to fix the term of office or employment, or the compensation, or to increase or decrease the power and authority of any officer, agent, or employee of the town, unless such power shall have been given to him or her by the council. But the mayor shall have such powers with respect to the chief of police, the police officers, and the employees of the police force, when and if the mayor is given control and supervision of the chief of police. Every ordinance resolution having the effect of an ordinance shall before it becomes operative be presented to the mayor. If he or she approves, he or she shall sign it, but if not, he or she may return it with his or her objections in writing to the town manager, who shall enter the mayor's objections at length on the minute book of the council. The council shall thereupon proceed to reconsider such ordinance or resolution. If, after such consideration, 2/3 of all members elected to the council shall agree to pass the ordinance or resolution, it shall become operative notwithstanding the objection of the mayor. In all such cases, the votes of the members of council upon such reconsideration shall be determined by yeas and nays, and the names of the members voting for and against of the ordinance or the resolution shall be entered on the minute book of council. If any ordinance or resolution shall not be returned by the mayor within 5 days, Sundays excepted, after it shall have been presented to him or her, it shall become operative in like manner as if he or she has signed it, unless his or her term of office or that of the council shall expire within said 5 days. C. The council shall at its first meeting, and in the code here it says July, but now we're on a November election cycle, so it should now read, the council shall at its first meeting in January, following every regular municipal election, choose one of its members as vice mayor. The vice mayor shall perform the duties of the mayor during his or her absences or disability. The member of the council who shall be chosen as vice mayor shall continue to have all the rights, privileges, power, duties, and obligations of councilman, even when performing the duties of mayor during the absence or disability of the mayor of the town. So we need to elect a vice mayor, and I want to reiterate that in the past it has been the highest vote getter, but that is not necessarily the case. So y'all keep that in mind when you go to elect a vice mayor. Any recommendations from council?
I'd like to recommend someone.
Ms. Ellen?
You know, for a long time, I've sat here, and it was always the one that got the most votes. But I think a lot of times we should go by the charter, and we did choose people that could follow the mayor's footsteps. So on that behalf, I've been watching someone, and I'd like to recommend Councilman Howard as vice mayor.
I'll second that.
All right, we've got a nomination from Ellen to nominate Nick Howard, second by Gene Wayne. Any other nominations? All right, motion on the floor. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
So carried. Mr. Howard, congratulations.
Thank you.
I used to kick Denise so much. I won't do that to her.
All right. That matter of business done. Announcement of the Christmas decoration winners for this year. So we had a first, second, and third place. First place went to David Taylor and Gene Jesser at 4147 Ridge Road. Second place, Delmas and Teresa Mears of 4389 Chicken City Road. And Bill and Ginger Birch, 7079 Bunting Road. Each one of them will get a little bit of spending money from the town. I rode around several places. I love watching everybody decorate for Christmas. It just, everybody gets in the spirit. People put a lot of time and energy into it, and a lot of money too. So congratulations to those three. All right, next up, consider FY26 budget calendar. Mr. Talbert.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We do this every year. In January, I present a budget calendar that lays out when we will discuss which parts of the budget. I will reiterate, this is my attempt at scheduling this in an orderly fashion. It is open to review and modification by any method that you'd like to do it. Just as a note, we typically have reviewed budget matters at the Budget and Personnel Committee, which is the second Tuesday of every month, and then again at the workshop meeting, which is the third Thursday of every month, and reserve regular council meetings the first Monday for normal business without budget interruptions to make the meeting longer. So that's typically the way we try to do this. This lays out the calendar for every day. We're already off because it's not January 6th now, it's January 8th. But you'll see this is the subjects that I anticipate discussing at each of these meetings, all the way through till the formal approval and appropriation on May 5th. So I'd ask for an approval of this document or recommendation to modify it.
All right, everybody, Mr. Talbert would like a motion on this budget schedule.
Make a motion, we accept it.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second to approve Mr. Talbert's budget schedule here. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So move. All right, Mr. Talbert, trolley budget.
Yes, ma'am. Every year the trolley grant, and we do get a grant that operates the trolley. The grants that we get pay for about 73% of all trolley operations, leaving the time to pay the balance 27%. Those grants have to be submitted by February 1st, which means we always present the trolley budget at the first meeting in January, so that leaves us time if you want to make any changes before we have to submit the grant. This year, the 2026, for the 2026 budget, you'll see the trolley grant is outlined below. Not a lot of differences from last year's budget. One huge difference is we would like to, and Billy King, our transportation director, is here, but we would like to replace one of the older trolleys, as we did a couple years ago, with a new trolley. Again, we only end up paying about 4% of the total cost of that trolley, which in this case is about 10 grand. So it's a lot of bang for our buck. I will also say that the drivers, currently the drivers were getting $16 this year, Bill, and we are proposing to bump that to $16.50 for next year. Billy has got us some of the best drivers that Accomack County Schools had to drive the trolley. They're all very experienced drivers, very safe drivers with great records. So we'd like to keep them happy. They all love driving the trolley over the summer. So if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Any questions for Mike?
So it's the 26.
Hold on, Gene. Hold on, Gene. Go ahead, Miss Ellen.
The sale of surplus trolley,
Uh-huh.
is that what, if you sell one of the older ones, what you would get? Or is
that
that
is-
from our,
No, this is the trolley we're replacing with the new equipment. Which one is it, Billy?
It would be Stormy.
Stormy. So we would be replacing Stormy with a new trolley, and that will be the sale of Stormy.
okay, so it's not got anything to do with what we've already bought?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I thought that was. but
Gene?
this is
So our cost is $26,495 plus the $19,000 for the new trolley plus a 50-cent raise. It's worth every penny of it, I promise you. Thank you for what you do. It is. It's a bargain.
And meeting with DRP earlier this week, they did say that there's a possibility we could get more funds for this replacement that would cut our costs just a little bit.
It's absolutely.
Anybody have any more questions for Mike or Billy King? Any questions? We're asked to consider and approve this proposal for submission.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion and a second to approve this trolley budget for submission. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. All right, Mike, general government.
Thank you, ma'am. A few weeks ago, a team from Old Dominion Electric Cooperative was here. They were in town for about a week, and they were here to do some surveying of the local area downtown, as well as some bathymetric surveying of the channel. You might remember, I think it was last year, or maybe the year before, we had some issues with our submarine cable that feeds power to the substation here. ANN has elected to plan a replacement for that cable. And ODEC will be, I believe, the lead organization in doing that. They are in the planning processes right now. The surveying and identifying of existing utilities is part of that process. They were here for about a week doing that. The schedule is that, or the next part of the procedure after the plan is done is to present it to the SCC, and after that's approved, the project will start officially. They expect the new cable to be in place by the end of 2029, which is the information I got from the folks at ODEC. And we are pleased that they are considering doing that. ARPA projects, as most of you know, we received over 2 years over $2.9 million in ARPA money. These projects were originally scheduled or dedicated to be mainly water and sewer projects, and we happen to have one of those. Since the original distribution of ARPA funds, though, the rules have changed, and they will allow a lot of different things now to be done with your ARPA money. The basic rules that haven't changed is the money has to be encumbered by December 31st of 2024, and it has to be completely expended by December 31st of 2026. I'm happy to report that we have encumbered over 100% of our $2.98 million. We will report that in April as required, and we're on track to spend all of that money very easily prior to the deadline of December 31st, 2026. And the reason we were able to do that, the sewage system which we planned is the construction cost is $2.248 million. We have another about almost $300,000 in design costs on that. So we've encumbered over $2.5 million just in the sewage project, and we had several other projects we'd already done and expended the money that qualify under ARPA, so we'll list those as completely expending the dollars. And you see the other things that we have a lot of legal fees associated with obtaining the existing plant. One of the original purposes of ARPA, one of the original things that you were allowed to spend it on was open space, which all parks qualify as open space. So everything we did at Brianna's Park after the initial date qualifies, and we've already expended those funds. So we easily have spent our ARPA money. And we're well ahead on that, so we feel good about that. And I do know how to spell project. I apologize. My spelling's better than my typing, which is not to say much, but project should have a T. The town office, the staff at the town office has identified over 150 existing businesses located along the initial route of our sewer system, and that is Main Street from Sunset Bay to Maddox, and in Maddox from Main Street all the way to the museum. 150 existing businesses. As you know, the initial capacity of our initial sewer offering is going to be limited to about 37,000 gallons a day. So we're going to have to make some decisions on how to allocate that capacity, and that's coming up for discussion, I believe, with the Planning Commission in the next several meetings. HRSD is currently working on plans to upgrade and expand the plants at Sunset Bay. I have a conference call with HRSD on Friday to discuss the progress, but the new plants are slated to have a capacity of 130,000 gallons a day, which meets the permitted capacity right now. The key to expanding the capacity will be to obtain existing or additional permitting, which HRSD is also working on for the Sunset Bay location. The sewer system the collection system that we are designing will max out at 350,000 gallons a day. That it has a capacity of 350,000 gallons a day, and the reason we chose that number is because we are told that at the Sunset Bay site, that is the maximum allowable discharge that can be permitted at that site. So if HRSD is able to obtain permits to meet that capacity, our collection system will already be designed to transport that capacity to the plants. And they also have the plant construction set aside in 3 different phases, and at the end of the 3rd phase, that plant will be up to 350,000 gallons a day as well. So everything goes as it should. We should be moving right along towards that magic number. And I will mention also that our initial sewer offering is only going to be offered to businesses, not residences, along that route. Tax time, we are collecting personal property and real estate taxes since the beginning of the beginning of November in the town office. To date, we have collected $660,000 in real estate taxes and $249,000 in personal property taxes, and this represents 98% of the budgeted real estate and 104% of the budgeted personal property tax revenues for FY25. I have broken that down in this chart for you just to give you some context on what percentage of the budget that is over the last few years. And as you can see, that percentage of budget for both of those taxes continues to decrease. In other words, it continues to be less a part of the revenues that we count on. Meals and TOT. For the month of December, we collected $71,754 in meals taxes, representing for a year-to-date collection of just over $1 million, and that's 83% of our budgeted revenues for meals for this year. TOT was $78,373, which is about 87% of our $2.2 million budget for this year. Although those numbers, the meals tax number is about right there with the last 3 years. You know, TOT is down again, but I've done some, after the month of December, I'm always able to do a projection for the end of the year, and I do project that we will meet budget in both of those revenues for FY25. Financial report. This is, again, a snapshot of where we are at the end of December. Again, no anomalies there that aren't easily explained. We continue to have a good financial picture with nothing unusual to report there. Trolley operated on the 21st, and the 20th and 21st of December. We used Pied Piper, which is the town's trolley, to assist the museum with their holiday lake tour. It was well attended. And also, again, this year, Delegate Bloxham had a New Year's Eve party at the center in which we used the trolley as well. I will also, and I've neglected to mention that trolley service expanded to 7 days a week for 2 months over the summer. And that's something Billy implemented, and it was well received.
Yeah.
And we did that in the month of July and August, right? July and August. Shoulder seasons, we continue to operate Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Building and zoning. Total value of building cost of construction is $1.3 million for the month of December, and total building permits $4,600 on that. And the whole list of everybody's permit is on there, which is all public information if you're interested. and I'll entertain any questions you may have.
Any questions for Mike? Chris?
Yeah, I got one question.
Okay.
Hey, Mike, on that, so the 400,000 in ARPA that we are essentially reimbursing ourselves, because as you said, we already encumbered the fund, where is it going to show up in the budget?
I'm not sure I'm following you. The 400,000 for,
So we had already spent our own money on a lot of these items.
Correct.
Because we got 2.5 tied up in sewage. So the 400,000 that we're now taking and putting towards the project we already expended the money from, how are you accounting for all that?
well, we already have all of the ARPA funds, so, and they are in a interest-bearing account. So the money that we don't have to expend because it's already expended is already in that reserve account, in the ARPA reserve account. So we simply have to make a decision at some point on where to move the balance of those funds.
So you haven't actually pulled them out of the actual ARPA funds
No,
you received yet?
we have not.
Okay, that was what I was looking at.
Yeah, those projects have been declared ARPA funds so far as our reporting to the government goes, which is perfectly legal. But since we've already expended our own money, we certainly can take the ARPA funds, which are sitting in an account, and reimburse ourselves for those projects.
Okay, that's what I understand what's going on. Thank you.
Huh?
Any more questions for Mike? I think it's worth noting to everybody out there, if you haven't looked at this real carefully, it looks like our budget for next year is going to be, 11.7 million? Is that right, Mike? 11.7 million. And real estate and personal property taxes don't even bring $1 million in to the town. So
That's actually this year's budget.
is that this year? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I see it. 25. I'm sorry. Yeah. So, the money with the transient occupancy tax and the meals tax and reimbursements from here, there, and everywhere goes a long way in the town. And I say it, we all say it every year. Mike and the staff do a really good job of keeping that budget lined up. But, when people say, oh, my real estate taxes are high. Yeah. Well, they might be to some people, and some people they're not. But, nobody wants to raise taxes of any kind. But boy, our staff does a fantastic job with doing what we do with real estate and personal taxes. All right, moving on to police report. Tyler's not here. Y'all can read that in your packet. Public Works. Mr. Parks.
Good evening. One of the things we did in December was finally make the last connections to the water line up at Wildcat, and to kind of speed that process up that day to not be impacting everybody's water and the traffic flow in and out. We split into two crews, and were able to get it done in a quick manner. And so anyway, that new water line is all hooked up, and the existing pipe on both ends that we tied into look to be in very good condition. So got a good feeling about that one. The next couple of pictures are of bathrooms. We spent quite a big deal of time on the bathrooms. Initially started because of some small vandalism. But we kind of expanded what we were doing. In other words, downtown bathrooms, instead of just fixing the drywall where they kicked a hole in it, we repaired the drywall and painted the whole foyer and got it spruced up and looking very nice. Brianna's part, instead of just replacing the vent that got busted, we painted in there, also painted the floors. And then we moved on to Memorial Park, and actually painted the floor. I don't have a picture of that one, but we repainted all the concrete floors in the bathroom, so it really kind of spruced everything up and made it look good. VDOT installed a new cabinet for the traffic signal at the intersection right out here at the end of Deep Hole. It's not a brand-new cabinet, it's new to us, but the old cabinet had gotten hit and was no longer watertight. So hopefully this will help that equipment to last a little bit longer. Something that's been occupying quite a bit of my time is that we sent out this letter requesting information on the water line materials and size from everybody, and I really appreciate everybody calling in, because every person that calls in and lets me know what they have, it's one less unknown that we're reporting and one less letter that we need to send out again next year. So I'm at about 350, I believe, right now, people that have called me and let me know what kind of water line they have, so I really do appreciate that. In January, we're planning on removing and storing the Christmas decorations. We've done some cleanup at the old firehouse in the back to help, be able to organize them and store them in a good fashion. Of course, that got delayed a little bit this week with the weather. We also had a harbor cleanup that we were going to do actually this week, but that's had to get pushed back due to clearing snow, and of course now it's very wet down there, so we can't really get in there to do what we need to do. I guess with that, I'll entertain any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Parks? Gene?
Comment. Your staff done a great job on the roads, and thanks
Appreciate
for their hard work
Been a
and
long
shit
week
and the
for
hard
them.
shifts. Yeah,
Yep.
but it's like you said, amazing for what the stuff we got. You done a great job.
Absolutely.
Thank them.
Miss Ellen? Do you have nothing?
How are we with water pressure at the Wildcat now?
I'll have to look into that. I can let you know. I'm sure that it's improved.
Okay.
It's improved as to what it was.
Okay.
But where to tell you
Sure.
a PSI,
No, I was just
don't-
wondering,
I don't
where
know
that had
right now.
been an issue.
Yep.
Was that a larger pipe you installed?
No, it was the same size
It
pipe.
just looked like in the picture that one was bigger than the other.
Anything else for Wes? Thank you, Wes.
Thank you.
Mike,
Yes, ma'am.
going back to the little bit of vandalism we had, our cameras down there, how often do they get looked at? How's this process working?
We just about daily make sure that our cameras are up and working. If we have a problem, then we roll the cameras back and see what we can find on them. They generally store several days, sometimes several weeks worth of video. So, and I know for a fact that our police department has used the cameras to solve several crimes or several vandalisms. As always, my experience with cameras is always, no matter how many you install, there's always one that you wish you had that you don't.
Right.
I do have in this upcoming budget that we're getting ready to discuss, I have put a few more in there because we've discussed this, and we have a hierarchy of how we want to install them, and as we get the money to improve our coverage. But
And those bathrooms get locked up like they do at Memorial Park in downtown at night and then unlocked in the morning,
they are
correct?
locked nightly and unlocked by the police department every morning.
Okay. Thank you. Brian?
Good evening and Happy New Year.
New Year.
So, lots been going on, lots going to happen here. So, giving you an update from your report that you received last week. We finished out December with a total of 70 EMS runs, which is actually 8 less than in December of 23. Next slide, please. And, I better look at that one just in case it's catching up. But so for the year, here's a couple little interesting tidbits. That was 51 more calls than in 2023 for a total of 1,103 responses. Impressive. Out the door time, your average out the door time is 1.78 minutes. That means from the time that call comes from dispatch, in 1.78 minutes on average, an ambulance is responding. Now, that could mean 2 ambulances are on another call somewhere, and one has to break loose, what have you. But that's a pretty impressive time to be out the door in 1.78 minutes. To be on scene in 4.43 minutes. So you have an emergency, your family has an emergency, a visitor has an emergency, and our average on scene to you is 4.43 minutes. Obviously, the calls here in town help make that number way low. We have to go to Assateague on the surf. You're looking about 8.5 minutes, depending on time of day and time of year, of course, with that. And our busiest days of 2024, Tuesdays was the busiest day of the year. You know, you would think, oh, Saturday, Sundays. Tuesday was the busiest day of the year, followed by Friday, and then Saturday brought number 3 in the list. The busiest time of day was 11 a.m. to noon. You know, 1,103 calls, 11 a.m. to noon was the busiest time. We gave 51 mutual aid calls to the mainland this year. Not all of those were actually made to the scene. Some of those we were canceled en route, but again, we were dispatched for. That's down slightly from last year at 55. So again, their staffing model over there is getting better year over year, which is helping our mutual aid calls going out. Now, something that the council did last year, we increased staffing, if you remember. We've got 3 folks 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and then we've got that 4th person, 8A to 8P. Well, what that did is we only had to receive mutual aid 11 times in 2024. That's really good. And that's down from 38 times in 2023. So most of those 11 were actually 3rd calls that were going on, or a 4th call during those busy days. So we really accomplished something. And I'll go back to that 51 mutual aid. If you look at that 4.43 minutes, those calls were counted in that average as well. So depending on where we were sent, of course, if we were canceled, that kind of skewed that number a little bit. But let's just say we went to Greenbackville, to the Cove, something like that. You know, typically that's probably a good 14 to 18 minutes on a good day. That's, you know, not a lot of traffic, good weather, things like that. So really good response time from folks this year. Next slide, please. Our top responders in 24. Stephen Wilson, he's one of our new hires. He managed to pull in 199 responses in 24. Paul Stowe, and Steve's the one in the picture there that's got the sunglasses on, second one in. Paul, who's the first one there taking the picture, we call him Pop-Pop, by the way. He got 168 calls. Patty Drewer, 159. Ray Miles, 147. And Dwayne Reed, 141. And the rest of those 1,104 calls, obviously it's 2 providers on that truck for each call. But we have 28 employees now, counting full-time, part-time. So people got to run quite a few calls in 2024. And that picture is of a training we did at the Lighthouse earlier in the summer. Next, please. So drug kit. I know you've read in my reports. You've seen me talk to you about drug kits and what was required and how the DEA moved away from the hospitals and said, hey, the agencies are going to have to go out on their own. And it's been a year-long, arduous process. Let's just say the least. The pictures there, we did training in the middle of December. All staff had to do drug kit training to understand the different kits that they're responsible for, how they check them out and check them back in each day, and the appropriate paperwork. Next slide, please. As you can see there, Steve Wilson is on the computer, and Jamie Wheatley there in the background calling out lot numbers. So each drug that we received, the lot numbers and all the pertaining information with that had to go into a computer program for tracking. For the DEA and for other reasons that we have. So in our report, or my report that I sent to you, we were looking to try to go live with our program by January 15th. We would be the first department here on the shore to actually go live with the program. I'm happy to report at 2 p.m. Monday afternoon, we went live with our program. So we're into day 3 with the program, and everything is working well. I certainly want to thank Dr. Wolf for all his help and support as our OMD. Certainly Jamie Wheatley was a big help in this project. He kind of took the bull by the horns. Steve Wilson and also Ray Miles, they were big assets in making this program work. So, really want to thank them. Next slide, please. On the emergency management side of the house, if you notice there's the winter outlook slide that I had last month. Still supposed to be warm this winter. Just pointing that out there. It's not changed. So we're continuing our weather monitoring, of course. We did some launch monitoring last month. We were awarded the local emergency management planning grant for $15,000, which our match is $7,500. We've used that grant 2 years ago to redo our EOC. Last year we did some more lighting as we enter our EOC, some equipment. This year we're going to be using that to help offset some costs for our Code Red call-out program, as well as our satellite phones, and we're going to do a little training with it. So we're happy to report that. In the 2025 projects, this is a busy year on that side. So state code requires that we do a complete revision. We do it yearly, but to do a complete revision of our emergency operations plan. Well, 2025 is year number 4, so we have to do that this year. My plan is meeting with the team members, and we'll have a good revised plan for you, and hopefully have that adopted by you all the first meeting in June is our goal. We're going to look at redoing our continuity of operations plan. As well as this year is also the beginning year that we begin our hazard mitigation plan rewrite with the AMPDC. So busy year coming up planning wise. Can't say it enough. We've been blessed with weather. Over the last year we had a little minor snafu snowstorm here this past week. Maybe another little teeny one coming for the weekend. So now's the time to get prepared. It's not going to take much of an ice storm. Certainly a nor'easter with some flooding could pose some serious problems. So again, if you're out there listening, now is the time to prepare yourself for that. So in summary, EMS has been a very busy year. The CMS drug kit program is now in service as of 2 p.m. on Monday. Winter weather and nor'easters will still pose a possible problem here in the next couple months. Many plan revisions and rewrites, and again, prepare now. I will point out that if you saw, as Joanne mentioned a while ago about the Christmas parade, the little Martian on our float, that CPR was being done the whole way through, he did survive. Joanne met us with a nice little chamber pack to send on his way, so hopefully we'll have some visitors coming up for the 100th year.
Outstanding. Questions for Brian?
Thank you.
Brian, outstanding job. For those of you out there that are not familiar, and Brian, correct me if anything I'm saying is wrong, the hospitals no longer are providing medicine or drugs to replace what the medics use on the ambulances. So between the fire company and Brian's department stepped up and are now supplying those drugs to be used, and there's a room over there that's like Fort Knox. So don't even think that you're going to, get by with anything over there. I don't even walk by the door. I go way outside of that door, so it doesn't do anything. But great job to you, your staff, and everything on that. So just one more hit to the small town, fire company. All right, let's see. Next we have Gene Wayne, Recreation and Community Enhancement Committee meeting.
On December 12th, 2024, we had a Recreation and Community Enhancement meeting. Our biggest topic was the Memorial Park baseball field. During September and October, we had a lot of flooding days. And the park is nice, and we want to hopefully build it up. And also make sure that our fields just aren't baseball fields, that we use for soccer and volleyball and other things, like I say, the multi-purpose thing. And hopefully we have a closing coming hopefully this year that we'll have the funds to pay for the fill in the park. We also talked about what we should do with the rest of our funds, and I just told David Landsberger we will spend it. And the biggest thing we talked about, we want to make the stuff accessible for handicapped people, so the wheelchairs for the wheelchair kids. And Mike, I think you were talking about using concrete is what you were planning on. That would be the most cost effective and it will last us longest, but
you're talking about the playground?
Playground,
It would have to be something.
Brianna Condas Park.
It'd have to be the certified surface over there. That's what we used, yeah.
Yeah, so that's where we want to spend our money, to make all the recreation equipment accessible to the kids in wheelchair, because we have so much sensory equipment and stuff like that, and that park definitely gets used. We're very blessed that we were able to get that up and going with just not town funds, but so many people donated to it. Oh my gosh, and even contractors from down the county, when they come down and work, no bill. I mean, we were very blessed, and it does get used. We also talk about committee members and what their terms and stuff would be. We also talked about having the gentleman from the county, the new guy from the county, come down and talk about uses in the park, and then the park to use his expertise into it. Mr. Leonard suggested using him to come down here and give us his expertise too, and I'm sure that the county will work with us on that too. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions for Gene?
I do. I've got a question. In your report, my name is mentioned in there, but what were you talking about? Read it. It says, under the Roberts Rules Order. Next to the end. That last paragraph.
Here we go. Ms. Leonard stated that Robert's Rule of the people are voted in order which they'll receive. We were talking about how people, when the nominations came up, just like, it's no different than the Knights. Most of the time, it's the first person that will say something, I nominate so-and-so, and she was wondering about that. But like you say, that is, like you say, you've been here longer than I have, I agree with you. Sometimes we'll say, when we want somebody to get in, we'll try to jump in with somebody's name, and that's just where it's been. You know, I mean, like even like on the Knights,
I think he was talking about
nomination.
when, in fact, I was on that committee then, when you had nominated, yeah, I'm not sure who you nominated that time, but, and then one of them didn't get in and one did, between David Johnson and Donna Leonard. I think they were just referring to that. Correct?
That's
Right, and that's the
Right.
fastness of the nominations.
Right.
But isn't that our procedure?
It is. I agree with you. Like I said, I try to explain that too. Like you say, when we have nominations, like you say, just say somebody's coming up for planning commission, and we want somebody over somebody else. We know who the nominees are, and if I have a favorite, I'll try to say it first. You know, that is the norm, and I totally agree with you.
I did agree with what Mayor Bowden said tonight when she asked, is there any more nominations? I did agree with that, because when I was in the auxiliary, that's the way we run it.
It should be
So
that way.
that should be.
Mike, before we go on any further, do you want to mention that we have it on the website and our Facebook page if anybody's interested in serving?
Yes, certainly. Posted on the town's website as well as our Facebook page is a form that folks can use if they want to participate in any of the town's committees or advisory committees. It's a simple form that just asks you to express your interest and why you want to do that. You can download the form, fill it out, email or mail it in to us, or just drop it by the office. We're taking them every day. And
Sir.
they will be all given to council for their consideration when the time comes.
I was going to ask, is there a deadline
No.
on it or anything? But we'll get moving on that though pretty soon.
As council wants names to fill spots, I'll be handing them these forms.
And Ms. Sullivan, I totally agree with you. The way Mayor Bowden did it is makes smooth all that over. I totally agree
Yeah,
with
because
this
it's
way
totally
that.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it was, and she's 100% right, and that's why we always did it before. But like what way Mayor Bowden handled that takes care of that stigma, because is there any other nomination? I totally agree with you. That takes care of that stigma of that situation. And I totally agree with you.
Mike, do we have any interested parties yet?
We do. I have about 4 forms all filled out and in a file for you, and I've had a few other folks that have emailed and asked questions, and I'll refer them to that form if they'd fill it out and send it in so we have a record of their interest.
All right. Chris, are you having a planning commission meeting this month?
No, we're not going to meet till February until after we fill the open positions. I believe we have
Okay.
3 open positions or 4 open positions.
Okay. I'd like to, if it's all right with council, have those names for the workshop meeting so we can move forward, getting some of this buttoned
We're
up.
not going to meet until after the meet in February, but it's however we're going to proceed. We'll make sure everybody has plenty of time to submit letters of interest. I don't know, actually.
Okay. All right. Moving on to adoption of the minutes of December 2nd council meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to adopt minutes of December 2nd council meeting. Were there any changes or corrections to that? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. Mayor, council, and comments. Miss Ellen?
No, so no.
Mr. Howard?
Just like to thank the public and give me the opportunity to serve, and I'll do the best I can.
Mr. McComb?
One thing I'd like to say is prayers for all the folks in California, all the fires going on, and then also with all the weather here, everybody stay safe, especially it looks like we're going to get some more snow this weekend. So, Happy New Year.
Mr. Taylor?
Pray for God's continued blessings for this town.
Mr. Savage?
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate what Councilman Billy said regarding the wildfires in California. Just asked for protection for those individuals. And just, again, started a lot of reports regarding the public works and how they handled the snow, the roads and so forth, and just keep up the good work. We got looks like another one coming this weekend. So.
I want to say thank you to those that were here tonight, braved the weather. As you can tell, I really didn't want to brave it myself, but I'm here and hoping that I'll feel better in the next couple of days. But thank you for being here and for participating. I've said many times, government only works when people participate, and I appreciate you being here. And those listening or watching via the internet too, thank you for that. Wes, goes without saying, your department did a fantastic job. Keep up the good work. Order what you need. If you've only got one more, yeah, go ahead and get it ordered. I don't want to be caught without anything. Brian, great job on everything you do. Our police officers, I will never ever be able to say enough about our employees here, right from the bottom all the way to the top. They do a fantastic job with everything, and we're very, very blessed. Last month, Councilman Bott had listed off a few things that council accomplished under Mayor Leonard's tenure. I want to see us capitalize on those items and keep moving forward. We have a lot of work to do, and I'm looking for good things to keep on happening to the town of Chincoteague. And like Nick said, you all put me here, and I'm going to give it the best I can give. And again, appreciate y'all being here, and be safe going home. All right, entertain a motion. Correct, Mike? Make sure I'm doing it right.
Yep.
Entertain a motion to go into closed session in accordance with Section 2.2-3711A3-7 of the Code of Virginia for the consideration of the purchase of real property for a public use and for the briefing by staff of pending litigation.
Motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So moved.